Hi, my name is Lav Chintapalli, and I want to thank you for allowing me to present my paper in this unusual format. Due to a family emergency, I could not fly to Chicago, and hence this video. The title of my presentation is called Exploring the Role of Ethnography in Education. My dissertation focus is doing a comparative study of educational systems for globalized education. What that means in the sense that I'm going to be comparing the educational systems of the USA and India in terms of cultural norms on student learning. And I'm going to be using Basil Bernstein's pedagogical theory, and the methodology is an autoethnography. And it's an autoethnography because I have studied in India as well as in the USA, and hence my focus on ethnography and autoethnography. In this presentation, I'm going to be talking about 4 concepts. Defining ethnography. As we know, ethnography has been a part of social science research throughout the 20th century and has its roots in sociology as well as in anthropology. The traditions are so enmeshed and juxtaposed that E, as in ethnography, does not belong to any one tradition, even if either tradition claims its right to ethnography. Anthropologists can no longer define their research sites by exotic cultures because due to the mass migration, exotic cultures are dwindling. Ethnographic fieldwork has therefore become a defining characteristic of anthropology. Likewise, the sociological studies of towns and cities also claim a pedigree to ethnography. Therefore, as you can see, it's based on anthropology as well as sociology. Ethnography has gone beyond theoretical studies into academic and applied research. Nursing, organizational research, education, science, technology, theater, sports, etc. So it has, the applications of ethnography has gone far and wide, diversified into all aspects of academia as well as application. Lincoln and Denson have proposed a chronological linear model for ethnography. But Atkinson, Coffey, Delamont, Laughlin take issue, as they say, they actually take issue with the fact that there was ever a traditional hegemonic ethnographic order. They say that trying to put ethnography into giving an order to ethnography is actually doing a disservice to ethnographers from previous generations. The multiplicity of perspectives lends beauty to the field, which in itself is characterized in terms of its own cultural diversity. To go over a few definitions of ethnography, it's the first-hand experience and exploration of a particular social or cultural setting in the basis, though not exclusively, by participant observation. Ethnography can also be defined as a reflexive and experiential process through which understanding, knowing, and academic knowledge are produced. So, talking about data collection in ethnography, the data can be collected via most of the qualitative data gathering methods, such as interviews, focus groups, textual materials such as biographies, observation, diaries, etc. But what's important is that it's the data collection that doesn't make ethnography. If data collection is divorced from social context, it is not ethnography. So the social context is an important part of ethnographic research. It underscores the significance and magnitude of social correlation in ethnographic research. So let's talk about the first one, which is the autoethnography, which is my focus for research. Autoethnography is at the junction of 3 things. It's native anthropology, autobiographical ethnography, and ethnic autobiography. So it's if you think of a Venn diagram and all these three intersect, autoethnography is right smack in the middle of it. Now, what does each of these mean? Native anthropology is when former subjects of ethnographic studies become authors of studies of their own group. Ethnic autobiography is when personal narratives by members of ethnic groups. Autobiographical ethnography is by anthropologists who interject personal experiences into ethnographic writing. To summarize the primary difference between the others and autoethnography, the others describe social life through life stories, whereas autoethnography describes social life via ethnographic methods. The others, they don't have to be, the researcher doesn't have to be a member of the group or have to be an anthropologist. But in order to conduct an autoethnography, the researcher has to be a member of the group as well as an anthropologist. So, a few definitions of autoethnography. And Ellis says, it's a writing about the personal and its relationship to culture, where authors focus on a group or culture and use their own experiences in the culture reflexively to bend back on themselves and look more deeply at interactions between self and others. Well, that's a mouthful. That's a huge definition. We'll look at a few smaller definitions. One, Chang says it's a research method that utilizes the researcher's autobiographical data to analyze and interpret their own cultural assumptions. Pink says a method that allows ethnographers to use their own experience as a route through which to produce academic knowledge. Ray Danahay says autoethnography is a form of self-narrative that places the self within a social context. It is both a method and a text, as in the case of ethnography. Let's talk about insider status. So far we've seen that autoethnography has to be done by a person who belongs to the community. So they can be called a native, but Hayano calls the native an insider. And he says in his research called Human Organization, he says that an autoethnographer possesses the qualities of often permanent self-identification with a group and full internal membership as recognized by themselves and the people of whom they are part. What Hayano means by this is that a person doesn't have to be born into a culture. He can be accepted into a culture. He may acquire through socialization or other intimate familiarity with the group the perspective of the insider. So as long as the group accepts him as the insider due to his familiarization, he is part of the culture.